The Arizona Cardinals are locked into third place. What the finish means for the Redbirds going forward, Johnny Venerable.
Plus, ESPN's Mina Kimes joins the show to talk Marvin Harrison Jr.'s breakout game. Plus, what does the future hold for Kyler Murray and our sweet baby Cards? Coming up, PHNX Cardinals starts now.
No.
Hey, happy pre-New Year live from Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Friends, leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. Check out our presenting sponsor today, our friends at Bet365. Download the app, of course, PHNX365. When you sign up, choose your offer. Find out why, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with Bet365. I'm Johnny Venerable. He's Brack, Damon, Dawg in Studio K. Mina Kimes joining us in just a couple minutes, chatting all things Cardinals. Third place, Cardinals. Congratulations. Clap it up.
Third place. Wow. I was not prepared for a third place acceptance speech, but we're not going to be the meme where the person's, chomping down on their medal and shooting off champagne for a third place finish, even though it's an improvement on a last place finish from the 2023 season. The Arizona Cardinals did make progress, and we're not gonna poo-poo it, but we're also not gonna sit here in the final hours of 2024 and sit here and go and relive our best of or worst of list. We're gonna go with the the news of the day and what third place finish means for the Cardinals, and we're gonna examine the future of some key pieces along with Mina Kimes later in the show. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we'll poo-poo a lot of things today. Poo-poo boys. As we talk about the Cardinals once upon a time at 6-4, and they blew it. And again, like watching San Francisco secure last place last night, I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the dismay. I enjoyed the collapse for that franchise. And this weekend at State Farm Stadium, if you're feeling dirty, if you're feeling grimy, go on over, buy yourself a ticket, and watch Joshua Dobbs start for San Francisco against Drew Petzing. That's the kind of rhetoric. That's the kind of narratives I need in Week 18.
Oh, man. What a that's cinema. That's what that is. That's just true cinema in the year 2025 of our football lords. That's what they're presenting us as tribute and saying, hey, this is what's in your future right now. And it starts with the Dobfather returneth and playing for the San Francisco 49ers against what we would believe is, Kyler Murray, hopefully putting up some numbies against a god-awful 49ers defense. I mean, I know they're going up against the best that the NFL has to offer as far as offensive football, but this has got to be one of those games like stat padded a little bit, get out of there with a little token W and say, hey, it was that felt nice to cap things off, regardless of who was on the other side of it.
Can I ask you a gross question that we have to ask here?
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about the line with Bet365. What is the fallout if the Cardinals lose to Josh Dobbs Sunday? I know you didn't you and I chatted earlier today, and you, for whatever reason, feel like Dobbs is going to get exposed. And, I have nice memories of Dobbs running around.
Exposed than he already has been.
What happens if the Cardinals lose to Josh Dobbs ball on Sunday?
Man, I mean, there's been so many already kind of damning moments in actually meaningful games.
Yeah.
If they lost to the Dobfather in the finale, I think a lot of people can overlook it. Is this more Joshua Dobbs Super Bowl than it is, the other way around? Like, does Dobbs want to come in here and send the message to the team that was like, hey, thanks for starting, 9 weeks for us exactly, and then we shipped you off and actually did give you like the next
Did
best
him a favor.
opportunity. They did. And then he got on a podcast and was very unappreciative. It really did seem that way. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be great, but there was bigger problems that have already been presented to this fan base.
You know, I got a little sympathetic watching him run around that last position last night, throwing a touchdown. Cardinals with our friends at Bet365, a 4-point favorite over San Francisco with Dobbs, which is gross. Brock Purdy done for the year with some more, I think, hopefully not nerve issues, but he's just not healthy enough to play this weekend. Before we jump into 2025 opponents, Bo, I'm not sure if you caught Drew Petzing's presser today. I know a lot of people were critical of the offensive coordinator. We have a pretty well sourced. He's going to be returning in 2025, but any takeaways?
I was stuck in traffic on the I-10. There was a little crash coming out of downtown. I did not make the presser. I'm a big slob, and I didn't make Petzing. But no, fill me in. I'm sitting on the edge of my seat. I'm sure you got some really good insight as far as what's going on with the Cardinals offense.
Well, I mean, just this is from the team side saying we need to execute better in the red zone. I said this to the guys. It's not, to me, big things. I don't think you watch the tape and say this is a massive error or a terrible idea. So again, like compliments himself, I don't think this is a terrible idea, guys. It's little details that affect us in major ways, and think you have to really hone in on those details in critical situations in the red zone. So again, I think Drew, it's easy to point out the inconsistencies, the inefficiencies for this team post-bye, and it's been his team, his byproduct, his offensive side of the football. But like I tend to agree with the notion that, yeah, it wasn't anything major on Sunday. They have been a terrible, one of the worst red zone offenses, as you tweeted it out. I think we have it right here. One of the worst red zone teams in the NFL post-bye. You have it here on Twitter, Bo. Efficiency pre-bye, one of the best, one of the worst since week 12.
Yeah, it wasn't great. Under 50%, that's way too low as far as just overall red zone efficiency, as far as converting red zone attempts to touchdowns. That's what the 39% represents. And then how good they were in goal-to-go situations, right? At one point, they were like 16 for 16.
Yeah.
Then they go up to Seattle post-bye, and that immediately falls at the wayside. And then they were 60% from there on forward, including the 1st and 5 in first and goal from the 5 to end the game against the Rams. That was one that they did not convert. So yeah, I mean, that's that, along with, being the top penalized offense in the league, the undisciplined nature in which they've played on that side of the football. It's just, those are two, can't do it, deal break type situations where, you're not going to, it's the odds are against you, stacked against you to be successful when you're not, operating at a high clip in the red zone, and you're undisciplined and committing penalties, pre-snap and post-snap.
Yeah, to me, it's one of those things with Drew where, you want to embrace the fact that they were able to throw the football deep, but if this was week 3, week 4, and we started to see some glimmers of optimism and hope that they could build on, great. But why did it take so long for Kyler Murray to have a robust passing game? Why did it take so long to get Marvin Harrison Jr., as we outlined yesterday? His crossing numbers lead the NFL. He is the most productive receiving option in the NFL with crossing routes. Just above, DJ Moore, Jamison Williams, everybody's favorite, Ladd McConkey. And so it's like, well, clearly this is an example of a guy who I think has just been too stringent with his offensive ideology. It's like, nope, we're actually not going to play to the strengths of our individual players in the passing game. We're going to go the opposite. We're going to go, my offense is the way, you fall in line, right? It's almost kind of like, it's so stringent. It's the anti, like Andy Reid, right? It's the anti Sean McVay, where it's like, we're going to take what you're good at and maximize it while minimizing your weaknesses. Whereas with Drew Petzing, it's almost just like, well, Bo, you came from X school. and you fit this profile, so we're going to put you at X receiver, and you're going to get everything that comes with X receiver. Well, I've never had experience playing just X receiver against number one corners. You'll figure it out. Check back in about week 8 to week 10. And that's what this season has gone with Drew Petzing. It's like, I understand that the offense has had its ups and downs, but the passing game has been inconsistent since day one. And so when I hear him talk about, it's the little things, no, it's a big thing that's basically cost the Cardinals a postseason berth. And I don't think the fans have a lot of patience to hear about little things hampering this team, Bo, in week 17.
Yeah, I mean, it's the hard way, right? It's you didn't do yourself any, you didn't take any liberties. You didn't give yourself an opportunity to kind of take the easy route and getting maybe a player in rhythm. You had a guy that had to go up against defenses maybe that he didn't recognize and have to kind of learn on the fly and learn some hard lessons, but hopefully come out on the other side a better football player, albeit. But like, did it cost you? Did it cost you the ability when the run game, was taken away from you on the road late in the season against Carolina, and you need that pass game to step up? Did you simplify it enough to where you could just make plays and move the ball down the field and put up points when it's necessary? I think that's where you can point to and say, hey, this is where it's flawed. It's flawed. Like, it might give you the ability to, like, you're walking before you can run before you can fly. Like, but at the same time, you blew an opportunity because things were maybe at too high of a level. Like, you should be operating at a 101 level and you're at a 303 level.
Right. Yeah. We're going to get to the Cards 2025 opponents just a little bit. I want to bring up the super chat. Michael Evans brings up something that I don't think Gannon has specified yet, but we're assuming the starters are going to play this weekend. The Cardinals have an opportunity to go 500, Bo, in the division with a win, albeit against Dobbs and company on Sunday. But Bo, like, do you think there's any indication that they could sit players with the fear of players, getting hurt for the offseason? I just don't think Jonathan Gannon thinks that way at this point.
No, I mean, the guys that we saw, like Trey Benson went on IR today with the ankle, right? He's out. He's not going to play. And that's their version of you're not playing the finale. And that's where we've got our eye towards the future. Right. Paris Johnson Jr. being IR'd last week. That was that version of this. But if there are guys that are, close or, there's no structural damage and there's obviously I think James Conner probably is not going to play. But I don't think that there's going to be guys that are just going to be healthy scratches and won't play in the finale just because, hey, let's exercise extreme caution. That's not what they did last year. And I don't think they're going to operate much different from like they did last year. I mean, it's similar circumstances. You got to learn some things about your players. And I think you have to figure out if you can kind of gain some confidence here in the final game.
Well, let me ask you this. What's the relevancy of winning this game? Because excuse me, I see a lot of people saying, well, this game doesn't matter. You've already gotten third. But I push back on it. Like, I think it absolutely matters to Jonathan Gannon and to Monty Ossenford. I mean, as bad as the Cardinals have looked this season in the second half, even though it's a losing record, Bo, like, I think it means something to not have double-digit losses. I think it means something to them after not winning a divisional game last year. Remember, they went 0-6 in the division last year. To be 500 this year, I think it means something. And you have to give your fans an opportunity to see you go out on a high note. Because if you lose this game, it encapsulates the 1-6 finish and everything's on the table. And that's still a possibility even if they play their starters. Like, with what we've seen from the Cardinals in the second half, albeit most of it on the road, they are absolutely capable of losing this game. I mean, the Niners have George Kittle and Deebo Samuel. They could lose this game playing starters, but the optics of just sending Clayton Tune out there and losing 30-0 or whatever it may be, that is so damning that I don't even think they would approach that, regardless of whether or not they're worried about getting people hurt.
And then how it finalizes the collapse post-bye.
No doubt.
You go 1-6 and you go 2-4 instead of 3-3 in your division. Yeah. Those are just things that optic wise, I think that you can point to and say, hey, when people say, hey, where's the progress? You had an opportunity post-bye and you didn't get there, but you could say, hey, like, there's a couple things we can hang our hat on and use to build during the 2025 offseason. And I think that, not only is it finding a way to win this game. It is meaningful. I know there's some Scrooges out there, some regular season finale Scrooges that it's like, well, it's meaningless to me, and so it's meaningless to everybody else. But it's not necessarily the truth. Like, it's one more opportunity. Trey McBride's already posted on his Instagram. He's like, one more opportunity. He's excited to get out there. Could do some special things. Like, I think statistically, there's some things to play for, probably, and some salary incentives to play for. And then there's the pride that this team, wants to kind of build back. Even though you're not going to get to 100% there, you're not going to get your pride meter all the way filled. You might maybe get to like 40% at this point, but it's better than just a complete beaten, nearly bankrupt pride, register. So, yeah, I mean, there's something to play for. I mean, you're going up to take, I don't care how down the Niners are, to sweep the Niners in a season when, probably like it's going to really set up for the Niners to be successful by just showing up in 2025 because of their egregious schedule. You get them now, get them while you can.
Absolutely. We're going to talk about 2025 schedules plus Mina Kimes. That's right around the corner here on PHNX Cardinals. The holiday season is coming to a close, but that doesn't mean you can't splurge on yourself and save money doing it, look good doing it with our friends at Shady Rays. Big fan of Shady Rays. They've got a variety of colors, fits, styles, durable frames, and more. They've got 5 stars by over 300,000 people and hundreds of options to choose from, so you're bound to find the perfect pair to match your style. And if you're living in AZ, it's always sunny, baby. You got to get those Shady Rays. I'm a big fan of the all-black timber. And again, every pair is backed by lost or broken replacements. Plus, they have free return shipping within 30 days. So there's a no risk it when you shop. My wife bought a pair not too long ago. Didn't love how they looked on her face. Sent it back. Got a different pair. Bada bing, bada boom. You got to do it. Right now, 35% off. PHNX is the bonus code on polarized sunglasses. That's going to get your total purchase likely under $40. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Check them out online, shadyrays.com.
We're excited about a new partner that we have here at PHNX. It's the Carol Royce team, buyers of real estate out there. It's a family-owned, locally operated with 3 generations of family members serving the Valley of the Sun. This harkens back to my my radio days, Johnny. I remember Carol Royce was doing some radio spots over the weekend when I was just cutting my teeth, and that was a long time ago, folks. So they've been around in the Valley even before that. They know what they're doing as far as the territory out here, and they're going to get of course, this unbeatable track record is going to be on full display, having sold over 12,000 homes across the Valley. And Carol knows the Arizona real estate market. Buyers out there, you can rest easy knowing that you're not just making the right choice, you're making the guaranteed one. Love your home or Carol will buy it back. It's an unbelievable guarantee there. Carol Royce, check it out. If you're considering buying a home in 2025, the name to trust is Carol Royce. Your home is sold, guaranteed realty. Move up to one of our listings and we'll buy your home for cash. If you have any questions, call today. Visit Carol online, carolroyceteam.com. That's Carol with a C, Royce, Royse, team.com. Or, check it out. Or also give them a call, 480-776-5231. That's 480-776-5231.
Mina Kimes right around the corner, but first we teased it in the show title. 2025 Arizona Cardinal opponents have been set. Here they are, of course, the 6 divisional games. Bo, that doesn't change, but thank goodness the Cardinals lighten up a little bit as it relates to the division opponents. They get the slums of the AFC South, which, of course, is the Jacksonville Jaguars, jagging off. Titans, of course, the Houston Texans, and the
Clean
Colts.
It up, man.
And on the NFC side of things, Michael Penix is, you would assume, Atlanta Falcons. Bryce Young, revenge game, hopefully for K1, Carolina. Whomever is quarterbacking the fraud Saints, Spencer Rattler maybe. And, of course, Tampa Bay, who I think is destined for another division title. And then the tough part where a lot of people are breaking this down online is instead of playing the Browns, Cardinals are going to have to take on the Bengals. Instead of playing the Giants, the Cardinals will be at Dallas. And instead of the Bears, the Cardinals are taking on the Green Bay Packers. Now, before I let you kind of dive into this schedule, Bo, here's what I want to say to all those people out there that were hoping that the Cardinals lose to get last place to help their schedule. I'm sorry. All I heard this year was you can't beat good teams. Well, they got some good teams on their schedule. Yeah. Not great teams. The Bengals have been bad this year. Lou Anarumo's defense is terrible. The Cowboys are egregiously bad recently under Mike McCarthy. Yes, the Packers are good. Congratulations to make the playoffs. Unless you're the Denver Broncos and their schedule, you have to earn it. So I'm not buying in. I'm not doing the thing where everybody else does, where you're crying over a schedule about 18 months in advance. It's like, guys, can we just have a little bit of context here? These teams on here could be good or they could be bad, right? So, yes, would you like to play the Giants and the fraud Bears? The Bears could have Ben Johnson. They could be a good team next year. Like, yeah. The Cardinals just lost to Bryce Young and the Panthers. So I'm not going to sit here and talk about, oh, woe is the Cardinals that they didn't get a fourth place schedule and we gifted it to San Francisco. Like, have some pride. Want to play good teams, beat good teams. That's also going to give them a better opportunity to be on national television playing those teams.
Oh, yeah. Look, third place schedule is fine. Like, they got a fourth place schedule, and it wasn't that great. It was actually, it was outside of that 2-game stretch, and they blew it as far as taking advantage and stacking back-to-back wins with the loss on the road to Carolina. It was, it felt like challenging week in and week out where let's put that back up if you don't mind, Damon, taking a look at this. It's like, Dallas isn't going to improve this offseason. They'll get healthier, but they were a complete just debacle before the injuries and after the injuries. They actually, credit to them for kind of staying in the fight until the very end, and they probably saved Mike McCarthy's job. But like, if you can't go on the road and take out Dallas, who sucks at home, then you're just not going to be a good team anyway. Like, so you should be able to take advantage of that. You should be able to just completely smack down the Saints on the road, no matter who, or what's like their quarterback or who their head coach is. They're going to be a team in the rebuild. Colts are a complete disaster. I think it's actually a very favorable road schedule.
It is.
And you get to beat up on the Titans and the Jags. I mean, those should be wins, like, regardless. So, like, I'm not going to sit here and there's not going to be a tear in my beer because, hey, they fell short of fourth place and they could have gotten like a little bit easier of a schedule.
Let's keep this up, Damon. Colts playing a dome. Dallas plays in a dome. Saints playing a dome. Texans playing a dome. Tampa's nice weather. Like, they're
Dallas went 2-6 at home. They went 2-6. They went 2-6 at home. Like, they were one of the worst, like, historically bad at home early in the season.
Where's the inclement weather in this slate? Maybe Cincinnati if it's late in the year. Maybe. Yeah. This is a schedule that should bode well for the Cardinals to be able to compete in 2025. Like, given everything that we know about how they're going to attack this offseason, I don't want people like, I always see people like and people in the media like preconditioning. The Cardinals in 2025. Can they do it with this schedule? This is not a hard schedule, folks. Like,
no,
this is an average schedule. It's probably going to be about middle of the pack.
Can you imagine? They're a playoff team if they have this schedule this year.
Yes, no doubt. Like, I cannot believe how people are overrating Dallas and the Bengals. The Bengals are not making the playoffs. The Bengals are egregious defensively. Like, the Packers are good. You get the Packers at State Farm Stadium, beat the Hey, guess what? Why don't you go and beat the Green Bay Packers, who just lost to Sam Darnold? Is that impossible to do? You get the Packers coming to your building, which, by the way, you've had a lot of success against Green Bay historically at State Farm Stadium. It's like, come on now. Let's just cry, a big river about the 2025 opponents. It's just, I'm sick of that. Like, I know people are down on the Cardinals because they finished this year. Let's not create people an out for sucking in 2025. I have an expectation looking at that schedule. Kyler Murray be damned, and whatever they do in the draft and free agency, go win those games. You should be able to win double-digit games looking at that schedule next year. You were 6-4. You won games you had no business winning this year at 6-4. And then you peed the bed against the Geno Smith-led Seahawks and Bryce Young and company. Let's not do the schedule nitpicks, guys. Come on now. I don't want to do that. That's loser mentality.
I have no appetite for that. That's just I'd like to complain about everything, please. And he's like, okay, go for it. It's like,
the Browns and the Giants. I think the Cardinals could have lost to those two teams down the stretch here, guys.
Right. I'm a little bit. I'll give the Bengals a little bit more credit than you do, but like that's still a still very favorable schedule. Like,
yes.
You face the Jags, you face the Saints, you face the Titans next season. That's a gift from the football gods. Those are some of the worst franchises in the league, and I'm shocked. They're like, I guess the Jags and the Titans, you benefit from them being AFC South teams, so it's not like a play schedule. But oh man, and the Saints are an NFC South opponent, so you get to benefit from that. Like, and people will look at this like. The Niners benefit from playing a fourth place schedule right now, just like the Cardinals benefited from it this time last year.
Yeah.
But then you'll see what transpires this offseason, where those teams have a very good, easy path to getting better quickly. That's how the NFL works, right? They're going to be stocked with draft capital. They'll probably have some cap dollars, and they're going to be able to get some. They're going to improve their roster, and they're going to get probably some better coaches. Some teams will inevitably drop the ball. Some organizations are just bad organizations. But, the Niners, like right now, and even with the Cardinals schedule, it like some of these opponents look very favorable. They're going to change that a little bit. Like, remember the Cardinals, they were playing most of the teams that were right there drafting with them, with the Chargers. Who else was in there? Like
Washington.
At the time, Washington was ahead of them, right? I mean, there were teams that like we would just cast aside, but they did a lot of work and had a facelift in the previous offseason. And next thing you know, they're not, hey, I would face them anywhere, anytime.
Let's pull this up here. All right, let's look at the top 10. Cardinals play the Titans. Hello. They get to play the Jacksonville Jaguars. They get to play the Carolina Panthers. They get to play the New Orleans Saints. They get to play San Francisco, who's in the top 11. They get to play Indianapolis, and they get to play Dallas. So, like, how many games do you guys need against top 14? I'm not talking about the people in this crowd, but half their schedule are teams that are drafting ahead of them. Like, to Bo's point, not all those teams are going to be bad. They're probably going to get an infusion of, new coaches, etc. But like, come on now. There's enough meat on the bone for the Cardinals to do well outside their division. And if they, good to hell, if they would have just been 4-2 in the division instead of 3-3, they'd be in a playoff mix right now. So it's going to come down to how they do in the NFC West. But there's a path here, guys, to do well outside the division.
Well, just based on who the NFC West plays in 2025, as far as the cross division stuff, like the AFC South and the NFC South, like the NFC West has a very real opportunity to be the NFC North this season, where you're going to have multiple double-digit win teams, and it's going to be very crowded at the top by this time next year. It's going to be tough to separate yourself, in this division, because you do have the opportunity to beat up on some teams. Like, can Jacksonville be incrementally better with Trevor Lawrence being potentially healthy next year? Probably. But like in Carolina will be incrementally better. But like Indianapolis is going to get worse before they get better. Yeah. New Orleans is going to get worse before they get better. And you get to feast on those teams along with these other teams. It's like, okay, if you can, after going 5-0 against sub 500 teams and then dropping the game against Carolina, if you can get back this week and then beyond, under Jonathan Gannon, like you should do very well against this upcoming schedule. I don't care, like if you want to nitpick between the third and fourth place schedule, and then like those people who are complaining about it, they would complain about it the other way. Like if they fell into fourth place and say, well, show me the progress. They're still a fourth place team, this and that. So they're going to be upset no matter what. So,
I mean, the Giants, they get a quarterback. Guess what? They've got a real defensive line. They've got Malik Neighbors. They've got weapons. And then, I get it. Like Dallas and Cincinnati could probably give the Cardinals a good game. Could beat the Cardinals theoretically. Both those teams' defenses are atrocious. They're atrocious. And they could keep their defensive coordinators. Mike McCarthy might be safe. So, I don't know. You're never going to count me into like the guy who's going to complain about a third place schedule 6 to 9 months in advance. I'll tell you what else I'm not going to complain about. Mina Kimes, she's joining our show right around the corner here on PHNX Cardinals. Before we get to Mina, I mentioned it, top of the show, the Cardinals, just a 4-point favorite with our friends at Bet365 over San Francisco. A little parlay action with that. Some ASU Sun Devils tomorrow. I think that might be worth it. Right now, Bet365 has 90 million users worldwide. They have pioneered live in-game betting. And right now, new customers can use the bonus code PHNX365 when you sign up. And again, $5 is going to get you 150 in bonus bets. Best time of the year to dabble our friends at Bet365. College bowl season in full effect. College football playoff. NFL postseason playoff play right around the corner. NBA action and more. You got to download the app today. PHNX365 is the bonus code to use. Got to be 21 years and older, physically located here in AZ. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Text NEXT STEP to 53342 or visit problemgambling.az.gov, Bo, for more info.
Oh, man. And also, if you're looking for, if you're going maybe to a New Year's Eve party tonight, don't show up empty-handed. You're like, well, I already missed my opportunity to hit up, the grocery store or wherever. If you're not, Circle K is going to hook you up. Circle K, you just walk in. Of course, they've got their cooler there. You can get some nice adult beverages, the latest from Four Peaks, some nice ice-cold beers, maybe even some wine. Check it out at America's Thirst Shop. Or you can get some nice snacks, and you're not going to show up empty-handed, and they're not going to think you're a bum, right? So that's good. You're going to be, you're just going to be awesome showing up to your New Year's Eve party tonight. And also, you can save some money on gas. And what are you doing if you're not part of the Inner Circle? Of course, the free membership program. It's 2025 already. You need to have been a member of this Inner Circle like in 2023. You're just burning money because immediately you save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups and 3 cents per gallon every day after that. And you'll reach an echelon just like Johnny, myself, and Damon. If you use it enough, I'm 5 cents per gallon off each and every fill-up that I get. Plenty of member exclusive deals. Check it out right now. Enjoy your beverage deal. Circle K members get any size Polar Pop or Froster for 79 cents. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for more details.
Big thanks to everybody in the chat. Big thanks to all of our diehards out there. Become a diehard. Go PHNX.com shop. The number 18 collection, so many benefits to becoming a diehard. You get the free membership card and, of course, a free piece of merch of your choosing. I'm so fired up for all of our new diehards, Bo and Damon. They have a full year of PHNX sports en route with all the exclusive content at GoPHNX.com. Again, entrance to the Discord lounge. And then our favorite thing, man, oh, man, wait to hear about some of the events we have here locally that you guys are going to be able to attend. And we're so fired up. Can't reveal anything yet. We've been churning it behind the scenes. Become a diehard now. Go PHNX.com.
We're going to wrap up the new year with our favorite guest from 2024, Mina Kimes, of course, host of the Mina Kimes podcast featuring Lenny. You saw her on the great panel, the Netflix Christmas Day. It was unreal to see a guest of ours consistently throughout the year on full display, just dropping knowledge all Christmas Day. Mina Kimes joins us via the Verizon Insider Access. Of course, our Insider Access provided by Verizon. Visit a Verizon store, switch their award-winning 5G network, and get $200 gift card. Mina, how are you doing?
Well, I got to say, Seahawks fans are not too happy with you and the Arizona Cardinals right now, but I'm good. Otherwise, excited for the postseason's kind of rounding into shape. We're going to find out where NFL Live, my show at ESPN, is going to be on site, which wild card game. The one sort of benefit of the Rams getting in is we might get a Rams game, which would be a home game for me here in LA.
Yeah, we're not excited about the Rams. Honestly, we declared them dead. I declared them dead many times on this show. And it is disappointing. The Cardinals and Kyler Murray, Mina, are almost exclusively synonymous with second half collapses. Like the Cardinals 6-4 entering their bye. I think they had like a 65-70% chance to make the playoffs. Now we're sitting here and they're playing meaningless games in week 17 and week 18. Like, how do you spin it to this fan base, especially with K1, who was so promising early, and now you look at it and we're going into probably another off season of more questions than answers with K1.
Yeah, it's a real bummer because I also thought he played well in this last game, particularly in the second half. And you're thinking, okay, even if you're out, you could have closed on a high note. I thought Marvin Harrison Jr. was fantastic in that game. We can talk about that. And then you don't get the win at the end, and you got the miss. Kyler's such a tricky case, guys. Like, there are certain quarterbacks in the NFL you look at and you say, he's obviously not the dude, or he's a bridge, or he is your long-term solution. And I don't feel like he falls into any of those categories, which I'm sure makes your jobs very difficult, because you get these flashes of really high-end play, even in that game where you see him and he's got, top 5-10 arm talent in the NFL. And then you see lapses in decision-making at times, and it's hard to not ignore the second half issue and some of the, worst performances that we saw down the stretch. And I wish I had a better answer for you. The truth is the Cardinals probably don't have good options outside of quarterback, so you don't have to make a difficult choice here. It's not like, a couple years ago when you were thinking, are the Cardinals tanking for the number 1 overall pick, or do you want to bring Kyler back? You're obviously not in position to get that pick. And even if you were, it's not a very good quarterback draft. So you got to kind of go into next season thinking, what can we do to continue building this defense? What can we do to add to this very lackluster pass rush? And is there anything that we can do to get more consistency from Kyler Murray, which to me is going to be about the quarterback himself?
Yeah, it really feels like the grass just is not greener on the other side, at least this offseason. When you look at even the free agent options that could be out there, it's like it's red flag central. They've just got as many, if not more, than K1 himself. And you started to kind of get into it a little bit. But realistically, what does the path forward with Kyler Murray look like, especially from 24 to 25?
I think next year has to be a decisive year for whether or not you're going to move on, right? You can try to bring in a little bit of competition for him this season. Again, I don't think there are many good options out there, either in free agency or the draft or a trade. I think you can just kind of continue focusing on team building next year. Because let's be honest, even if Kyler Murray played the entire year like he did during the stretch where he was playing really good football this year, I still don't think this defense was good enough. It was defense that was vastly improved, and I thought played above its pay grade in some ways. And I think credit to Nick Rallis and the job he did. But you still got a lot of team building to do on that side of the ball, and you can focus on that this offseason. Next year, really make a decision with Kyler Murray, depending on whether or not he gives you consistent play from week 1 through the end of the season.
Mina, you mentioned Marvin Harrison Jr. And again, like if only he could play the LA Rams every week, he'd be 1,500-yard wide receiver in the NFL. But you see the accolades and the praise from Malik Neighbors, and rightfully so, and Brock Bowers and Ladd McConkey. But there's Marv, ho-hum, about 850 yards, 7 touchdowns. Like, what did you see specifically Saturday night, right? With the explosiveness out of his routes, he leads the NFL in crossing route production. Like, is that certainly something to build off of for MHJ?
I do not know why he was not used more on crossers throughout the entire season. This is like a constant complaint of mine. But what you saw, I thought, against the Rams, was growth. Because that the first game, as I recall, it was just like a few explosive plays. This to me felt like a really complete receiving performance. You saw a more developed route tree. You saw more nuance in his game. You talk about him getting in and out of his breaks, his work at the line of scrimmage, showing some of the hands and all the traits you saw in college. Honestly, like the receiver we saw in this last game in week 17 reminded me so much of the guy we saw in college, the way that he was winning, the types of throws that he was winning on. And I think that you have to be really encouraged by that as a Cardinals fan, because obviously him and McBride are going to be the centerpieces of this offense moving forward, and having like a true number 1 receiver, if he can continue building on that and really grow next year, that to me solves a lot of team building, any questions you have. And you can, again, I know I'm a broken record, focus on the defense.
The back shoulder throw to Marv was just beautiful. And it was a 50-50 ball, I think a lot of people would say, and Marv to kind of win that battle. It was very refreshing to see in a game that, didn't have as many implications as you wanted. Now, we talk about Marv and you're like, where was this? We look at the play caller, and, this is a show that, it has it pretty well sourced that Drew Petzing is trending on coming back, right? There's not going to be a move as far as the primary play caller goes. Where do you think Petzing can kind of take, what can he take from this season, and where can he grow to take this offense, which we thought was going to be the strength, but was probably the letdown for this team post-bye?
Yeah, I think you want to just continue working on the passing game in particular, because I think he's a brilliant run game designer, and I think you saw that pretty consistently. Although, can I get one more thing? Why doesn't Kyler Murray run more in these big games? I was in my Seahawks group chat watching this, and we were all like, run. It's 4th and short. You have one of the most dynamic rushing quarterbacks in football. So if I have a bone to pick with Drew Petzing, I do think he is underutilized as a design runner, and he should scramble more too. So I don't know how you guys feel about that, but that is something that bothers me. Otherwise, it's a very good run game. I think the pass game needs some work. You saw at times this year, it did feel a little bit predictable. I addressed the usage of Marvin Harrison Jr. was a little bit frustrating to me at times. And I think just continuing to build on that, maybe, like I said, you got a number 1 wide receiver, you got a bunch of really nice number 2s, but I was thinking maybe if you add a little bit more speed, you can create some more space for Marvin Harrison Jr. to work underneath. But overall, I'm not surprised that they're bringing Petzing back. I think maybe we got a little bit over our skis thinking he was going to be a head coach immediately, but I wouldn't put him in that Bobby Slowick category where it's been like, whoa, this is, I think by and large, the quarterback himself is responsible for a lot of the ups and downs of the passing game.
Yeah, we feel like the offense has the talent, right? And just needs some minor tweaking and better play calling. Defensively, play calling coaching, Mina, as you mentioned, has been, A- to A+ at times this year, given the talent. Is it easy to just look at the Cardinal defense and say, go get a pass rusher, maybe go get 2 pass rushers? I'm a big advocate, and Bo laughs at me. Hassan Reddick's going to be available. He had 17.5 sacks for Jonathan Gannon. Get creative.
What year is it, Johnny? What year are we talking about here? That was 2022.
Doesn't matter. The Jets are irrelevant. We don't take anything seriously with what took place in the Jets this year.
Yeah, I think because you guys got a decent amount of cap space, right? I haven't looked at.
It's like $100 million. They're behind only New England.
So yeah, I would defense, more defense. I think Rallis has done a really, really good job. I mean, the last second half of the season, really impressive from this group. And I think, you've seen development from young players, your Meltons of the world, and there are guys that have proven at minimum they are starters in the NFL. I don't know about plus starters looking at the defense, but the inability to get after the quarterback was really glaring, I think, in a lot of big games this year. And that's certainly where I have focus.
Well, we'll end with this. What's the vibe for the Arizona Cardinals going into the offseason? How are they going to be viewed with all that cap space, with decent draft capital, and then off this season that they had? It's going to be sub 500, no matter how they finish this weekend. But what's the vibe for the Cardinals going into the offseason?
I think there's just going to be a lot of questioning of whether or not you build around Murray going forward and you continue to invest in him. I personally think it's a really complicated question. And I think, again, the availability of options is going to ultimately why you don't try to make an aggressive move at the position this year. But I suspect that that's what I said earlier, which is kind of going to be put up or shut up time for him next season. I think that's probably going to be the prevailing sentiment. The national media is kind of hard on him, honestly. He for whatever reason. So I wouldn't be surprised if he is under the spotlight, I suppose, going into next year.
Mina, it was the highlight of our season, bringing you on every other week. You made our audience smarter. Big fans of yours. Hope to chat with you at the Combine Super Bowl week, as we will be there. But subscribe to the Mina Kimes podcast featuring Lenny. Mina, thank you so much for the time this year.
I enjoyed it. My fellow NFC West losers.
Look at us.
Look at us, indeed. We have, let's do some New Year's resolutions for our sweet baby Arizona Cardinals right around the corner. Big thanks to Mina. Drop a like on this video, plus your super chats for the last time in 2024 coming up. Hey, if you want Fiesta Bowl tickets, 15 minutes, kickoff coming up here. The VRBO Fiesta Bowl starts in just 15 minutes. Boise State taking on Penn State. And again, if you had an opportunity, big thanks to everybody who attended the Fan Fest pregame block party. Cheerleaders, band performances, fun, food and beverage, and more. And again, if you're in the market for some tickets, and I know Bo's going to talk about that here in a second, fiestabowl.org/tickets. We've had so much good traction with our friends at the Fiesta Bowl all bowl season. And of course, the coup de grace, the chef's kiss. I have been to a Fiesta Bowl. It was elite, Michigan TCU, a couple years ago at State Farm Stadium. So if you're in the area and you have an opportunity, grab some last-minute tickets, Bo. Penn State versus Boise State, kickoff in 15 minutes time.
No, man. Yeah, that's right. Still time to get in the door. I was walking around downtown Phoenix today, saw a lot of people wearing their Penn State swag, saw some Boise State Bronco fans and alums. So it's going to be electric. Can't wait to see what happens in that game. And of course, tomorrow's game. There's also a Suns game tonight. If you're like on the fence, like, what am I doing? What are my New Year's plans? Look no further than friends over at Game Time. Game Time can get you any event, right? Maybe you can find a stand-up comedy show last second. Maybe you can find a nice music option. Game Time's going to get you in there. And of course, we're going to save you some money immediately. All you have to do is download the Game Time app today. Use the promo code PHNX after signing up. You're going to get $20 off your first purchase. Check out Game Time right now. They've got, of course, the experiences that you're looking for. How about Game Time Picks? It's getting tickets to events. It makes it so much easier, filters out all the fluff, and it's just going to show you the incredible deals and great seats so you don't have to waste any time searching through thousands of tickets and trying to find the best value. It's going to be right there for you. Download the Game Time app today. Save some money as well by using that promo code PHNX. Now, terms apply, but what time is it? As I burp into the microphone, it's game time. Wow. Game time.
It's also, Damon, it's also time for your super chats here. One final
Look
time.
at that handsome boy. That guy's ready for the new year.
That guy is every wingman's worst nightmare as they hit the club scene in downtown Phoenix. But harkens back to a simpler time when this show had optimism and hope.
Yeah.
We still do. Toby Hall, $9.99.
We were so ignorant, naive. What was coming down in the 2024 season?
Things started well.
We were just humble guys holding the line.
Remember when we thought Marvin was going to be like a positive experience for us, and it just became excruciating?
I mean, Marvin himself called it a roller coaster last week. I mean, we're not the ones that are like,
to put it nicely.
Yeah.
Well, how about what Mina said? Like, why hasn't he been used like this all year?
Yeah.
Hey, Drew, she's talking to you, my guy. Stop sucking it up with the receiver routes. Toby Hall, $9.99. If they stick with K1 and the OC, will there be more jobs on the line after next year if this offense doesn't make a jump, a big jump next year? Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think Jonathan Gannon is obviously safe for the next 2 years minimum, barring something unforeseen. And you think about it, Kyler Murray is year to year, as Mina attested to, if we talked about, and I think Drew's year to year. So he could pivot off one or both after 2025 if it doesn't work out.
I think that's a fantastic question. And I think no doubt about it. The pressure now ratchets up. That was something that Johnny was talking about early in the season from a standpoint of, can they get enough stops on defense? Man, talk about being, naive and ignorant at the time. Not from a place of not knowing ball or anything, but we didn't know what was coming down the pike. We thought the offense wasn't going to be something we had to worry about. Could they make enough stops to keep themselves in games to not, waste the season and ratchet up the pressure to super hot in year 3, like the pressure to, compete for the division and win enough games for Bidwell to say, hey, we don't have to make any wholesale changes here. I mean, that pressure, I think, is going to show up. I think there's also going to be like junior year in high school, like feel too, like you're going to have, like, you're going to know everything. You're going to go with the ability of understanding the system, having seen a lot of things. There's going to be some great continuity despite some of the minor changes that they make. But there's still going to be the pressure, as Gannon said yesterday. It's a results league. He's not naive to that, to perform next year.
Dana, I love this $2 super chat. Dana, big supporter of the show, always in the chat, chomping it up with everybody. Drew, give the Pop Warner team their playbook back.
Yeah,
short and sweet. Give it back. Give your James Conner fullback dive a breather for 2025.
Maybe rip that page out of the playbook. Yeah. I think you got to look at what happened with Tampa the last couple of years. Look at some of their offensive concepts. Like, I think their great rushing attack they can complement it with their passing attack.
Yeah.
And I don't think the same can't be said for the Cardinals. Like, they've got a great rushing attack.
They do.
But can they complement it? Can they take advantage of the boxes that are going to be stacked? Our defense is going to respect it as far as how they're going to approach the passing game. Or, is it just for not? Like, it does, like, it doesn't make sense to set up the play action when you have a bad play action play call.
one of these days this offseason, we're going to go through the top 5 worst play calls of Drew Petzing for 2024.
We really want to do that?
Yeah, I think we should. Clayton Tune, top of the list with the back-to-back QB sneaks. Not very good. Reezy Baby, $5. We're sickos here. Just getting to the playoffs. Not enough for K1 next year. NFC Championship, Bo, or bust. I'm going to say, for me, Reezy Baby, friend of the program, Kyler Murray has never won a playoff game. So if Kyler Murray wins a playoff game next year, I would consider that a win, depending on how that looks like, the optics of it. But I'm with you. Like I once upon a time had aspirations if Kyler Murray is going to be playing in the NFC Championship games, that's going to be the norm. Yeah. It just hasn't been.
I remember like Carson Palmer, like he hadn't won a playoff game when he got here to the desert, right?
Yep.
I mean, he was in his 30s. He was I think 34, 35 years old.
Yeah.
I think he was like 0-5 at the point the playoffs, and it took them winning that divisional round, like wild game against the Packers, for him to get his first win in the playoffs. So it's hard, right? Especially when you've got an organization, a culture, you've got a very intense culture change that's gone on during Kyler Murray's tenure. As much as that would really change the narrative for Kyler Murray for the positive after, how he started his career and how this season transpired. For him to get to the playoffs, I think would be a major step for Kyler, as long as it doesn't end in disaster, much like the wild card loss in 2021.
Aaron Langton, all the way in Australia with $14.99 Australian dollars. Thank you so much, Aaron. Happy New Year's to the best cards pile. Well, happy New Year's to you, Aaron. We in Australia already waiting in 2025 for you. We're on our way. I believe Kyler is the best, is still the guy, but needs a playoff win next season. I think, Bo, we were just talking about it. Got to get to the playoffs, got to be viable. I mean, Baker Mayfield won a playoff game last year, almost won 2, and is going back to the playoffs this year. And is just consistently stacking postseason bursts. But I also think like he plays in a dog water division too. So you kind of got to grade on a curve, right? So at the end of the day, you just got to ask yourself, can Kyler Murray consistently win against Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, and the Seattle Seahawks? And history says he cannot. But can Jonathan Gannon and the coaching staff help him get over that hump next year?
Yeah, but when you see Baker Mayfield play against his dog water division and he's throwing 5 touchdown passes, like I'd like to see that at the very least. Like if you're going to beat up on some bad teams, at least, make the quarterback look good. So then you're having a tougher decision. Like when quarterback throws for 17 touchdowns total on the season, that's when you're like, well, the production just wasn't there across the board, right? Yeah. There was a couple outlier games, but for the most part, it was just pretty minimal as far as what you were going to get. You're going to get an offense that was going to kind of be right around the time of possession battle. But like, as far as putting up significant points and putting up gaudy numbers, like you weren't really seeing that.
No. Big thanks to everybody in the chat. Drop a like on this video. We got a couple minutes left here, Bo. And it'd be fun to do some New Year's Eve resolutions for the Arizona Cardinals. If you're Monty Ossenford and you want to say, I'm going to better our situation, I'm going to better our team, and it can be from a coaching perspective or even a player perspective, but I'm going to go ahead and get started here.
Oh, okay.
The Cardinals, humble as I may be, the Cardinals, to me, we've had a lot of surprises this year, good and bad, and the defense was certainly a surprise for the better. But I think you guys know where I'm going with this. The Cardinals were not serious about a pass rush in 2024, and it bit them in the ass in 2024. They're the second to worst pass rushing team in the NFL per PFF. If I'm Monty Ossenford in 2025, it's time to get serious about a pass rush, both from an interior and exterior. Now, from an interior, you have Darius coming back. I think they'll add another defensive lineman. Yeah. Your outside linebacker group, it needs to go to, what is that, half carrying water?
I'm waiting. You're toasted, right? This is your resolution, so I'm just waiting.
If you're Monty Ossenford, put up your glass and say, I need to go to Silicon Valley and I need a facelift for my pass rush. The guys I have on the roster, respectfully, even if I bring back Baron Browning, you do not have a starting outside linebacker on your roster right now, Monty Ossenford. Ojulari, Browning, Zaven Collins, Xavier Thomas, they are contributors. They are backups. It's time to move on for Dumakaji and Dennis Gardeck and Jesse Lucchetta and Boys Bo, Julian Okoro. Get them all off the team. Let's get serious. Let's get athletic. And let's have a pass rush. Cheers to a pass rush in 2025.
There we go. Oh, man.
That was beautiful, Johnny.
It was.
Thank you, Damon.
Did you come up with, did you like spend a few days coming up with that? Or
no,
like,
that's just logged into my brain since last July.
Wow. Talent, real talent.
Beautiful. It really was beautiful. It really did kind of, it was a great capper to the year, I'll have to say.
How about Julian Okoro's attempt to tackle Stafford in the hole this week? Oh. I looked at Damon. I go, Damon, that's Bo's boy right there.
Oh, man.
He literally told me, he goes, that's Bo's favorite player. I said, I don't know if Bo said one positive word about Julian Okoro on this program.
He loved to pick him in August. He loved it.
Talk about Julian Okoro in like reports like, hey, he's on the roster. And Johnny's like, you love him.
He's your best friend, isn't he?
Oh, man. That was great. That was a great little toast there. I'm going to kind of piggyback that a little bit.
Okay.
One-upping you.
Yeah. I'm gonna one-up you. And I'm going to say, as I raise my glass to the end of 2024 and welcome 2025.
Yeah.
And raise whatever you're drinking tonight with us. That Monty Ossenfort now with his team kind of collapsing here at the end and not being able to kind of announce their arrival with their play on the field and in the standings and with a, kind of out of nowhere playoff appearance, berth. I think that this offseason you have to get splashy. You have to make a big move. And Johnny's talking about the pass rush. Absolutely. You can't just dip your toes into the free agent waters. No, you got to make a big old Bubba splash, right? You see the person walk up to the diving board and you say, oh, what's coming off this thing? And it's a big old belly flop with a huge splash coming out via free agency and announce we're here to compete in 2025. We're not just here to like raise the talent floor on the roster. We feel like we're in the right direction. It's time to make some splashes, time to make some moves. And Big Daddy Monty Ossenfort's here to make them in 2025.
Adult Swim, if you will. Let's get those big splashes going. Cheers. I drink to that. And rounding us out, Damon, are you prepared to make a speech here on PHNX Cardinals?
Are you gonna announce who you're holding the line for?
Yeah, 3 toasts in one single podcast. I mean, that is pretty crazy,
Yeah.
Let me toss myself on screen here. What's up, everybody?
This is what Damon looks like.
Oh yeah, I've never been on this program before. I guess obviously 2024 has been a bit of a struggle, especially for our hold the line crew. We gave it our best, and we made things happen in this city, and people will forever remember that. Obviously didn't go exactly the way we wanted it to, but we will be back in 2025 with a vengeance. Hold the MF in line. And here's to 2025.
Here.
Thank you. Can I give one more honorable mention here? New Year's Eve before we get out of here.
Drinks are flown. Why not?
He's in action tomorrow. Would you be surprised if we're sitting here this time next year and Cam Scadaboo's an Arizona Cardinal? Would that shock you?
Probably.
Monty Ossenfort spending a 3rd-round pick on a 3rd tight end, but we can't have Cam Scadaboo. I would say Monty Ossenfort
of draft, like what we've learned. Take Jalen Milroe off the board.
Yeah, get off.
Oh my gosh, what a dud today.
Kyler Murray, let's get an extension going. That's what I immediately thought of. We're gonna all be watching ASU tomorrow. Hopefully, beat up on Texas and can Cam Scadaboo find his way to the desert. I know it's not a priority. I know it's not a need, but Cardinals need some good vibes like that on top of becoming a better team as a whole. I think
what would his role be though?
Gamer.
Did you trade Trey Benson?
I mean, people are saying he might go 3rd round. I mean, they took a 3rd-round blocking tight end.
I know, but they don't have 4 3rd-rounders this year. I feel you as far as
it's an emotional want. It's not a team. It's not practical. It's a splurge again.
What is Johnny Venerable's true reaction? Take your heart out of this for a second, because I saw your reaction to the 3rd-round picks last year.
If they took Cam Scadaboo as a 3rd-round pick this year, and that's their only 3rd-rounder, assuming they took care of their other needs, jubilation. It would just be awesome. It'd be awesome for this team. It would be, I mean,
No,
I don't want to draw too many comparisons.
They would only have 2 picks before that. So like you say any other needs, like that means that they would have had in free agency done some heavy work.
I like what people are putting in the chat. Package tip in a package to go up and get Scadaboo. I agree with that. Make a wrong or right here in 2025. That's what it should be about, friends. You're watching with our streaming partners.
You've been overserved here at this New Year's party.
I've had too much to drink. Hypothetically, go PHNX.com to our streaming partners. Yes.
How much do you think tip would be worth in a trade package?
Well, if you had to answer that out loud, I think you know that maybe it wasn't good value. Hey, we took a blocking tight end in the third, and what could we get back?
Look at Canyon Man, our guy Jim saying JB would melt down. 4-hour tirade, must watch TV. Oh man,
let's spare the fantasy. I won't.
Yeah, if you think this is the first time you're going to hear Cam Scadaboo's name mentioned on this podcast,
buckle up.
Spoiler alert.
Jake Plummer, a certain safety at ASU that became an all-timer. Pat Tillman, Cam Scadaboo.
Eno Benjamin.
Oh man.
Well, pour one out for Eno on this show. HBO doesn't want us talking about Eno Benjamin on this show. Yeah, that's right. K2, Scadaboo over Tip. Absolutely. If the Cardinals had any foresight, they would have traded back into.
Tip Ryman deserves so much better than this.
No.
What did he do to you?
You want me to pull up his stats real quick here as we wrap up the show? Tip Ryman here, Arizona Cardinal tight end.
Don't be disrespectful.
Let's see his
6
PFF
catches, 37 yards for Tip Ryman.
Oh, but what a 37 it was. It would be on brand for you to get some parting shots against Tip Ryman in the final moments of 2024, like you have.
As the ball coming down from the ceiling.
Yeah.
People are counting down from 60, and Johnny is talking about the horrific value of Tip Ryman in the third.
People are finding their New Year's smooch, and Johnny's just sitting there, just roasting 82nd overall pick.
Did I
go
tell you
look at
about
Elijah Higgins,
third string tight end?
Elijah Higgins was unbelievable against the LA Rams. Where's he been all year? He deserves opportunities. Tip Ryman, a third tackle drafted in the top 90. You love to see it. You don't. But we love to see all of you, 650 watching live. Drop a like on this video. Subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcast. Coming off our biggest year ever, and that's because of this community. And we're not going anywhere. We got a locked and loaded preview show coming up later this week. Hoping we get a chance to catch up with some of our favorites, including Brian Boldinger, depending on travel. But we're so fired up for our content in 2025 that we thought it was going to be in 2024. Will that be the year the Cardinals break through and make the playoffs?
We certainly hope so, and we want to be along for the ride with each and every one of you, the diehards out there, each and every one of you who are loyal viewers of this show, whether it's on our streaming partners or whether it's on YouTube. And, of course, just everybody in the chat. Big thank you and happy New Year to you and yours. Excited about what's in the future for this community and for Johnny and Damon and Bo. We will talk to you guys when? Friday, when we preview the Dobb Father Bowl that's going to go down on Sunday.
Do we have a Thursday show? I can't remember.
I thought we were off Thursday, but we'll let you know. Just make sure you're following at PHNX_Cardinals. I'll be out there for Kyler tomorrow, and then at watching the Peach Bowl over at Wild Horse with our guys over at Sun Devils. So, but enjoy your New Year's Eve, and we'll talk to you guys soon here on PHNX Cardinals.
We all silly like the mayor.